Good morning or good evening to all, and welcome to the Data-Driven Community virtual meeting. A few words about the Data-Driven Community. As you can notice at our website, we are managing two branches of activities. If you scroll down the page of the website, you can see the upcoming events. On the right side of the page, you can check the upcoming weekly meetings of the cloud data-driven user group, like the meeting today. The second branch of activity on the left side is the Future Data-Driven Summit. Like our user group, there are tens of user group in the field of data platform. Some of them on premises, some of them are virtual, some of them are in English and in other languages. Each user group usually have a weekly or a monthly meeting. And together, we run an annual joint conference called the Future Data Driven Summit. You really don't want to miss this annual free event of the year. So register. I will put the link in the chat as well when we will start the lecture of today. So don't delay getting your early registration completed. It's not so early. We are almost there. It's about 1 month to the event. Updates will be sent by email to those who register. Please feel free today to use the chat during the meeting for questions and discussions as well. This is a user group meeting, so we are more flexible. It's not a conference. It's not a pure lecture. You are also welcome to use the reaction. It doesn't interfere with the course of the meeting. If you hear something that you like, you love, if you want to clap hands virtually, then feel free to use the reactions option. You are more than welcome to contact any of the community board if you have any suggestion or question. Jen Joseph is the founder and co-administrator of the community. Anna Whitley is the second co-admin. My name is Ronen Arieli. I'm from Israel, senior consultant in the field of data platform and architecture of enterprise level system. I am the third co-admin of the data-driven community, and I will be hosting the session today. So those are the community board members. Today, we are honored to have Surbhi Pokharna with us. Surbhi is a cloud data solution architect, expert in data platform, and most important is that Surbhi is one of the tech community leaders. She speaks in events and share knowledge in additional of leading the field. In fact, I have mentioned the joint annual event, Future Data Driven Summit. Surbhi is one of the organizers of the conference. So, Surbhi, you can share your screen and add a few words about yourself if you want.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ronen. Let me take the screen share. And here we go. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, very good. So, just let me. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. As you see, I'll be presenting here about Internet of Things, IoT, connecting the dots from devices to the database. Quick introduction about me. I'm a data professional with 20 plus years of experience. In my current role, I'm involved with the enterprise scale cloud data migrations, leading a large global cloud data platform delivery and analytics team. I'm one of the board members of New England SQL Server User Group here in Boston, and the leadership team, part of the leadership team with the DBA Virtual User Group, and part of the leadership team for the Future Data Driven Summit 2024. Here is my contact information about my Twitter handle, Gmail, and LinkedIn. The best way, if you have after this session any question, you can message me via LinkedIn. So before we get going with the IoT, Ronan mentioned about the Future Data Driven 2024, which is on September 25th. Not just because I'm part of the board of organizers, but this is, trust me, this is one of the best virtual conference as of today on the globe, where there is huge emphasis on learning, inclusivity, and the great speakers. So much focus on the latest and greatest technologies and the content, and endless hours have been spent to pick the best sessions. So if you want to have like literally, I would say, if you have like a volunteer day off in your office, take that day off and utilize that. Just immerse into learning on that day. I cannot recommend more that how good this conference is going to be. Without spending a penny, you would learn a lot. So mark the date, September 25th, Future Data Driven Summit. And Ronan has shared that link for registration. Please go ahead, check the schedule and attend that. Now, moving back to our original agenda. So as you see here in this picture, Internet of Things, IoT. Now, our day-to-day life, we live our life practically on our mobile phone. I'm about to start my travel to office. I would say, hey, how is the traffic on the road? Then my monthly electricity bill is coming, and I'm like, okay, how much I spent last year around same time? Oh, my bill seems to be pretty high. So, and then you see that, oh, my electric vehicle charging, how are the trends? Like, can it notifies me when it is like 60% charged? Waste management. How is the compost waste management going on in my town? There are lots and lots of things which are currently connected to the internet and which are part of integral part of our life. But now when you see, so basically we like to see all that data. And if you see the picture from the lenses of data, this is nothing but tons and tons of data is moving over the internet and getting analyzed. So various things in our life are sending the data, which is being analyzed, and then the outcome accordingly is helping us to make the decision. Now, like one simple example, my elder one, my daughter, she started driving recently, and like I really want to keep an eye on her location. So that's where the IoT, it is nothing but I can track her location from my phone just for the safety purpose, or being like a mom, I feel good about that. So that is Internet of Things. My next door neighbor, I know that she travels a lot from work, and there are times when she is traveling to Europe, but her living room lights are getting like switched on and off in the night just to keep like fooling the potential burglars. That's what like we think, we feel comfortable like doing that. So in nutshell, IoT is in our life, in our day-to-day life already there. And here in this session, we would look at the same life from the lenses of data. So moving along, how a typical IoT solution would look like, irrespective of which cloud you go, right? The fundamentals are same. So you would have the sensor devices. That devices can be in some Sahara Desert or Amazon rainforest or in Alaska glacier or anywhere. So those sensor devices are continuously sending the data about environment, about whereabouts or wildlife or whatnot. And those sensor devices, in our case, like let's say that one entity is called Cloud Gateway. So the Cloud Gateway is the one when it is like it can manage the bi-directional communication with those devices, like queuing the events which are coming. Now, there can be two types of events which would be coming. Stream processing. Now, on the street which you are about to drive, that street is having some traffic jam. How when all the IoT, we are getting that data, That means it is a real life data, real time data getting inserted into the via your gateway in volleys. And that is a live stream processing because you want to know the decision right away. Shall I go on this road or not? Whereas my monthly electricity meter or my monthly water bill, it's not something I want to know every minute how much I'm spending on my water bill, but I want to see my monthly water bill end of the month and I want to see the trends, right? Which is something that large bulk of chunk of data getting inserted on a batch processing kind of mode. And then we want to see, oh, in summer our water utilization is increasing, but it is 3 times more than the last year's summer. So what changed? What we did wrong or differently this summer? So that is batch processing. So when the sensors and devices are sending the data to a device cloud gateway, which can manage the bidirectional communication, then comes the stream processing or the batch processing. So now we are gradually our data antennas are getting activated, right? Now stream processing. That means that real time data is streaming and capturing. But what is the important thing here? Low latency. We want that alarms, thresholds to be plotted. We want that information right away. So we want those events to be processed in a very fast pace. Then comes that means we need warm storage, right? And then dashboarding, reporting, alerting, everything pretty quick. Then comes the batch processing, which I gave you the one example. It can go to cold storage because every month somebody gets a water billing data, it gets stored, it's a large scale data. So cold storage can retain raw original messages and can be it can be further processed and curated with big data and analytical engine to extract insights, because insights are the key thing, which that's why we are here. And cold storage also should be optimized for large data volumes at a reasonable cost, because here there will be huge volume. And then dashboarding, reporting, analytics, and machine learning. Those all are also integral part. So these all are the components which are part of IoT solution. So the keywords, what we should be knowing here, things like devices that are sending the data. Insights, we need to create a mechanism to collect that meaningful information, because now just think about that. When the IoT devices send data, they send too much trash. Not necessarily, or let me say that they send too much information, and out of that, maybe 50% is trash and 50% is gold. But how do we filter that out and make our insight? That's the real part, right? So meaningful information we want to retrieve from that data and through the devices, and then we define our actions. That what is the action which is going to be driven based on that. Okay. So now let's convert all this thing into an architectural flow and diagram. So again, as you see, the bigger picture in this, we have things, we have insights, and we have actions. Now, things are IoT and edge devices. I have some pictures of devices, what I used, and some of the data simulator, which I did to generate the data, which I would continue in my further discussion. Now, these IoT devices, there can be individual devices or there can be bulk devices, right? So that devices are how you deploy. What are the bulk devices, for example, in our town, like last year, I think, maybe, there was an effort to change all the water meters because they were getting into more smart water meters. So those are bulk devices. So the bulk devices, and then the cloud gateway. You can have multiple solutions for cloud gateway, IoT hub, IoT central, and those bulk devices when you do, then also that no matter what you see in this picture or further we discuss, data security underneath plays a huge role. So you need to have a mechanism where the bulk devices should register itself to the cloud gateway in a secured manner. Now, there can be multiple ways to a shared access token or authentication. So that obviously this is a 1 hour session that internally within the data, managing the data security for IoT is itself is a huge, big field. We can like literally go one full day session around that. But I'm just giving you those data points to remember. If you end up thinking or designing something like that ever in in your workspace or in your like personal choice project, sometimes we do as a hobby as well. So this is the underneath undercurrent which you always have to remember. It's a core foundation. So now with keeping that in mind, we move forward with the cloud gateway. And from, as I mentioned, cloud gateway is a bidirectional messages. It can send back signals to IoT devices also. And even sometimes for we have the IoT edge devices, which are way smarter than just the piece of hardware, which can do a little analytics at their end as well. Okay, now because internet might not be that great there, so they do that and then they send the signal, but they do some analytics at their end. Now moving along towards the right side. Oh, you move fast. Okay, then the data is coming in the volley, and we need now here the stream processing, a stream analytics engine, which also is part of our demo. I'll show you how to do that. The stream processing is something, the first it gets a huge dump of data. And then we build our logic. We build our, that what kind of information is required for us to further move forward with the in the cold storage path or the warm storage path or the relational engine path. And what is the information we completely eliminate from the picture because we don't need that anymore. So as you can see that these are the three key layers: things, insights, and action. And from the device connectivity, here we are using IoT Hub, which is providing like a secure and reliable communication for and connecting virtually any device. And it is offering comprehensive per device authentication option. Okay. And built-in device management is also part of IoT Hub. In our case, when I would be going through with my demo, I'll be using IoT Central, and I'll show you why I'm using IoT Central. But fundamentally, IoT Hub or IoT Central, because IoT Central is more one-stop shop for the application uses development. And I feel when you start your journey, IoT Central is a better or the right tool compared to like a tool where you have to make a lot of decisions yourself and you're not getting a one-stop shop kind of solution on the table. Then the Azure Stream Analytics, the point two here. This is the example where the real-time analytics services are designed for mission-critical workload to build end-to-end serverless stream processing pipeline. So it is building your data pipeline just in few clicks, which we would build also our data pipeline. And with Azure Stream Analytics, our IoT solution can analyze, react real time, and do a lot more, and which we would see when we reach there. And here there are further diagrams about actions and warm path storage, Azure SQL database. This is what we are going to use in our demo. Cold path storage path, if you're going to go, you can just get the blob storage. So moving along, here is the picture of some sample supported hardware. You want to do some your testing like this past summer, not this summer, last summer, I made a smart helmet where helmet, if you just, like if you get hurt, your helmet can call 911 or your call can call your, like parents and or you just need some help. So that smart helmet, I used Azure IoT kit of $12 from Amazon. I ordered. So ESP32 Azure IoT kit, this is available. ESP32 device is also there. These all are pretty cheap IoT devices. Are they enterprise scale, large scale business devices? No. But for your own small projects, if you're doing, then these are pretty good devices. Even I see that because in our Microsoft this sales office is right like literally next town from me, and I do see a lot of healthcare products demos they are doing there for like a lot of sensors are sending data and they are doing analytics and they're using the similar kind of devices. Now for our case, what I am doing, because I have to start my data collection going, I'm using my cell phone as IoT device. So here in this hardware, I'm basically using a software solution because my cell phone is having one app called IoT Plug and Play, which is currently, because I have to start the data collection like while we are discussing, so that by the time I reach to the demo, I would have all the data. Currently, my cell phone. So, what I want to collect for my cell phone, it can be my cell phone, my kid's cell phone, any cell phone, right? That it should, in a cell phone, it collects like Apple is collecting location of your cell phone, right? So that means that what is your geolocation, then your internally, if it is getting like, see our cell phone, do you think that you want to hold your cell phone when it is getting really hot and you say, oh my god, like it's just like there is a CPU processor going on or fan going on? You want this your cell phone to be a certain temperature. So those all are different dimensions which you are collecting from your cell phone, plus the battery level, because as I said, like I want to see my kid's location, I want to get alerted if is their batteries below certain number percentage charged. So we can set that all that data collect and with IoT Central, and we can set some alerts and rules also for that. So with that, let's move. So there are multiple recipes. If you can use that. One of the recipe for IoT solution with Azure SQL database. So now I'm sort of narrowing down the scope. Instead of moving to the big like multiple solution, I'm creating a use case using the Azure SQL database. So the one scenario, and there is no hard-coded written recipe in terms of like you use IoT Hub or IoT Central or Azure function. You have to go through with your scenario and explore these options. So there can be 2-3 options given in your way on your way while building the solution using Azure SQL database and the Azure IoT options. So now in this case, we have one recipe where your Azure VM can do the device simulation. It can do the device simulation for helmet scenario. It can do the device simulation for the water, the or the traffic signal data, or the entire like all your family's cell phone, their location, which can go to the IoT hub. We can do the IoT decision making, excuse me, using the Azure functions and Azure SQL database, Hyperscale, and Power BI with the just to see the reports. So this is one of the recipe. The recipe what I'm going to creating the scenario is this. What are we going to do here? We will have I have a device on my phone, which is my phone. I have an app, IoT Plug and Play. And with that, I'll be using IoT Central. So now the objective of this session is connecting the dots from device to database. And database is all the way here in the rightmost direction. So we would go one stop at a time. We'll move to the IoT Central. We will understand what is IoT Central. And then we will move to the Event Hub. And why are we using Event Hub? Then we will make our data pipeline using Stream Analytics because we have to filter out all the noise and we have to pick what we want. And then the data would enter in the Azure SQL database. And then we will go through the all benefits of using Azure SQL database, which can how beautifully it can handle the data. And when we say we will pick the Azure SQL database, then we will also get the design tips. When you design your IoT solution, you should know how to design your tables. So we will go through those high level areas about the tips, how to do that. And that would be it for this. So with the moving along, okay, so let me first, I think let's start the demo and we'll come back to these screens. Give me a second.
Let's use this second to remind everyone, please feel free to use the chat.
Sorry, say it again, Ron.
I just use this opportunity that we have a short break to remind everyone that they can use the chat.
Yep. Okay, so there you go. the demo screen. Give me a second. I'll just move the. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So what do I have here? Our first hop from the diagram was IoT Central. Now, IoT Central is a one-stop shop. Why I like IoT Central, right? So you can create, like, for example, IoT Central application. So when you create an IoT, so I have currently two IoT Central applications created. You can create your own new IoT Central application with what is your resource group and TAM, and then this is the one which that's why I wanted to explain why I used IoT Central. So within IoT Central, and I would highly recommend if you have your Azure subscription, please go to the IoT Central application and use any template like a water consumption monitoring, smart meter analytics, or continuous patient monitoring. So these all are and solar power monitoring, right? How the solar power, these all are real life scenarios around us. And the best thing is IoT Central application has already collected tons of data and built the solution. So when you pick any built-in solution from the template, all you need to do is that it would guide you through the entire data life cycle. And it would help you a lot to understand because that you are not figuring out things. First, you are understanding built-in use case. So before preparing all these demos and everything, I did the water consumption monitoring. And then I understood the stream processing versus batch processing and all those concepts from the data perspective and keeping the like within this 1 hour or 30-minute session left, we are not going to the individuals. So what we will be doing in our case, like we will be making our own like we are not picking the template, but we are building our own scenario. And then the region and the pricing plan you want, the lower you go, like the speed and lot of other things you'll get. It is up to you how just for the sake of demo, what kind of environment you want to pick. Okay, so this is the most important thing in with IoT Central application. When we build ours, like I have built mine one, right? So let's go to the one what I have built. You get an URL. And with that URL, right? So this is my IoT Central. Now you feel very comfortable because it seemed to be like a one-stop shop where you can add your device because the step one in the journey, let's go back, right? And not only let's go back to this level, let's go back to this screen, the cloud gateway, either IoT Hub or IoT Central, which is getting all the data. It is super critical that if I pick IoT Central, which is giving me a complete visibility to my device, it is connecting my device in a secured manner, and it is very smart enough and easy enough more than anything to be able to connect to the next step. So that when I connect the dots, I'm living an easy life. I'm not like freaking out about, oh my God, how to do that? Because it is not like an easy game connecting a hardware to software in the cloud. Trust me. So that's why I really like IoT Central. And here we have already created, like just to be like a benefit of everybody's time, one device. But how to do that, right? So like I have a phone, which is having IoT plug and play. So when I create a new device, I get like, you will get a shared access token which you would create so that both the device and IoT Central can authenticate each other. So this device name and device ID and the organization, whatever the name I give, I would go to my IoT plug and play app, and that's where there's a register option, and I would copy these device name and device IDs, and then the name what I give, right here, it would try to like currently it is disconnected, right? I collected the data some time ago, and let me just make this thing very small so that Yeah. So data security, guys, right? So now when I do this, so my phone is still connecting currently because how I have set up that whenever I'm not using the IoT plug and play application from my phone, it will not collect the data. But when see, that's why, right? Now I just connected the app, so it started like connecting the data. Now, how does it connect? Now it's, let's say that first time I'm doing it. I went to my app and I registered my devices. Then I came back here and in my ID scope, this number I would get from my phone and I'll add this number, which would generate a shared access signature SAS. And then this primary key it would generate from the IoT central application, which I would give that to my app in my phone. So this is like a handshake. And it, when you do that, then the best part is device status provisioned. That is the first state which gives you the comfort that your device is actually provisioned now and it can connect. Now, how you want to connect, you want to be forever connected, or in my case, when I open the app, then only connect. It's up to you. But provisioned is the status you want to see with your device with IoT Central. So that means if across the globe you have 20,000 devices, all of them, each device ID you get, you do the mass global authentication method, generate that, create those shared access tokens, and when you get those, put them in a one group or individual device, whatever, and then provision. So this is the step one. Now, I'm here now. My phone is connected. If my phone would not be connected, right? Like an hour ago, because this app was not open on my phone, so I was disconnected. Uh, when I open this app and open the app on my phone, after some time, it automatically gets connected. How? Because here there is a QR code. When I go to my app, it says scan the QR code, and I scanned like right before this session. That's why I'm able to get this data anytime when I open the app. It just automatically starts connecting because it has background authentication taken care of. Now, so this is the overview. So this is basically my data is now getting collected right here. Okay. What else is important here? Now you see, I can create one alert. Because as I said, right, so you can create alert, you can name the alert. In my case, I have a name rule phone battery, and any value which is lesser than 85, if battery level, then I want this to be emailed to my email address, and that is my son's phone. So if his battery is below 85%, we already have so many apps which are already doing that. So I'm not reinventing the wheel or trying to say that I'm super smart and I'm inventing that. No, we already have so many apps which does that, but that is how they do that. So this is the behind the scene email and then rule. So you can set multiple rules on various situations. And that would help you. Like, suppose you want to see this device is collecting the data, and we can see the location, altitude, battery level, acceleration, and like multiple other different various dimension. And if you want to see that, okay, if the location goes 10 miles farther than me, then get the alert. So we can set those kind of rules. Okay. Now, connecting the dots. Let's hop to the next level. What we want to do in our next level, Event Hub, right? So we now did the IoT Central. We authenticated with device. My phone is sending data to my Azure IoT Central, which we saw. We set the role. Now next stop is IoT Hub, Event Hub, sorry. So moving back. So we want to export the data from IoT Central to Event Hub. So this is another process of authentication that we will create, like, you have to create multiple namespaces, right? And here, this is the behind the scene, how it is sending the data. All you need to do is, when you get that, we let me create a new one just to explain that piece. Right. So you will create a destination name like Azure Event Hub we have created, and you will get a shared access token from the Event Hub, which you will enter here with the connection string. So when I go to the Event Hub, I would show you that. And this way, and then you have to enable the data export. Otherwise, data would never go to Event Hub. So what is Event Hub? Let's go to the next stop, and then we'll come back and you'll understand. So basically, what you need to do, set the rules and then enable the data export. And with that, you add that event hub which you want to be connected. So for that, you have to first create the event hub, right? You don't have it currently. So in our case, we have created one event hub. Now, since my data export is enabled, you see, because these all devices are currently connected. So data is already moving here because for the benefit of like utilizing the time, I had set up all these things in advance. So the next stop is already getting the data. So how we did that, we are getting a shared access token here also, right? Shared access policies. You have the shared access key, the endpoint, and the connection string. And these are the keys. You will name that and you'll go back and you'll put. So the similar, how you see that, each key and lock, they work with each other only. You have to keep creating that authentication method, which is the underlying data security, so that your event IoT Central can only connect to the event hub which you have namespace you have created. So in this case, what is happening, we are getting the data from my phone during last like 10-15 minutes, and because the authentication is successful. Any questions so far before we move to the building the data pipeline? Okay.
No, no question in the chat at this time.
Okay, sure. So far, now you see one thing, right? We are getting all data. We are not filtering out anything. But there is a time before entering the data into actually Azure SQL database, we need to make those decisions. So, and we want all of that to be seamless. You don't want, like when you want everything to work in a very perfect automated manner. So then comes the stream analytics job. This is really my favorite thing. So currently we had data moving until event hub, but I have purposefully, I'm not currently moving the data to the stream analytics because I want to build that pipeline with you guys. So you have to understand the three factors there. Okay, so input, from where input is coming, obviously. Then the query, because the logic, what all things you need. This is the time for your business decisions, so that you create a data pipeline for the input stream. Then you have the query. Input is bringing everything. Come on, we are authenticated, bring it on. But now the query is the logic, which will pick what you need, and then you will make the output. And output will be to Azure SQL database, right? So these are the three things. That's how we are building in pipeline. But who all can be input? Just understand this, because that's why you will see the decision for using IoT Central, not only from the beginning, it can connect to Event Hub. And we have Event Hub, right, which is already exporting. The Event Hub has all the exported data from IoT Central. It could have got things directly from IoT Hub, but IoT Hub is not one-stop shop. IoT Central is. That's what we are using. So it can take, the point is what I'm trying to say, that you have to understand what all can be inputs before you say stream analytics is my solution. And now what? You cannot have that as your input, and you are building another customization, somehow managing, then you will lose the single source of truth of data. We need to maintain the single source. That's why this is the important decision. So we have event hub, we are good here. So let's create the input stream. So I have already created this. You can add that. So event hub to stream. So now what will happen here? How are you going to connect? your policy key. So this is again the same, right? We are not going in the detail of data security, but it is the same handshake which is happening with your this event hub and the stream analytics. And when we do that, let's test this so that it is doing event hub to stream, that if the all connectivity is working. I hope it won't fail. Just in case it fails, then also we'll make it work. No worries. So take some time because, okay, it's successful connection test. Good. So this is connecting. And now what is my query? So in my case, right, I have taken pretty simple example and see input query, because since it is like it is already getting that data here. And you can see that I'm currently not filtering out too much and I'm picking a lot of data from event hub to stream, and I'm getting into the Azure SQL DB. So this is the piece which is you start the job, it would real time start moving more and more data. Then the output stream. So this is the query piece, and here is the. Let me go to the output first. Yeah. So because I'll start the actual streaming after understanding these input and output concepts. Now, output from stream to other side. That's where the beauty of stream analytics is. Stream analytics is solution which is processing real-time data, helping you to build the data pipeline real-time, and it can execute forever when you set this to run forever. And the output, it can go to Azure function, Synapse, Blob, Cosmos, Data Lake, Event Hub, Postgres, Power BI, SQL database, table storage, and whatnot. So see, it does great job with that. So in our case, what we will do, SQL database, right? That's what we are going to pick. So, or the Synapse also you could have done directly if you want to analyze. In my case, I have the SQL database and the SQL authentication. So what we have done here, again, the SQL authentication, password and all that, let me, so you can add those output. So now we have our input set, query set, and the output set. So we can start this stream analytics job. And I want this to run now. So now when you do that, there is some SQL authentication error that was yesterday. See, here you go. It has started collecting the data, right? So now today is Thursday. I started this data collection, and now it is collecting all the data. It can have, so stream analytics now is working based on the condition and the query. So the data from IoT Central to Event Hub to stream analytics. So far it is working how I wanted this to work. And from the output side, let me just see that SQL authentication, if I can just change my password here, I believe. Okay. We'll see. Let's go to the database first, and then we'll come back to that because we have 10 minutes. Last night it was working, so I still have the data on the other side. Now, let's go back to our presentation slide. Where we are, we did the connecting the dots, device to IoT Central to Event Hub, and Event Hub to Stream Analytics job. So we are here until, and now let's move to the next stop. Okay, stream and on, yeah, so job is running now. So where is my Azure SQL database? Here is the logical server. And okay, so as you might know, I just want to go through a little brief about Azure SQL database before we, because now the demo part is pretty easy, but understanding the concept is very important. So the Azure SQL database, if you have a serverless option, it stays by default in paused state unless you're using that. So when you are using that in the general purpose, you have a serverless option. So you make sure that you have it like now online, which is the case. And let's go through the present some of the slides while we are making the further decision about. Our stream analytics is now sending the data to Azure SQL database. So now what is the Azure SQL database? How it is helping us? Like why are we picking Azure SQL database more than anything? So let's go through some of the concepts and the basic information which we are already going through the demo. So IoT scales with Azure SQL database. Like scale up and scale out. We know, right? When you have to performance, these are the two-way options which we pick. With you have 128 core up to vCPU, 100 terabyte in memory, column stored clustered index, multi-model database, temporal tables. All that is the scale up option, and you can have multiple scale out with read-only replicas, which can connect to the great like reporting solution. So this is very important that Azure SQL database with even with hyperscale combination gives you one-stop shop from the scaling perspective. Second is, understand this. Here, IoT sensor data via stream analytics is getting entered into a burst manner. It's a huge workload. And that's where what you do, you first, when it is creating this pressure, like, factory situation, 1 minute. Yeah. So this is called the landing zone, right? The first thing in your design, you will be making a landing zone or the staging area, which is optimized for the like a shock absorber and high and like spiky input rate is coming. So that time, what you will do, you will design the in-memory OLTP tables and the column store indexes. So that can use together to implement that is like, a shock absorber pattern for the IoT solution. So this is the one of the underlying workload pattern with IoT solution, which you have to understand while designing. We need to create a shock absorber kind of design. That's why in-memory OLTP tables are the first one, which are very important to design from the beginning in the business critical service tier and hyperscale. And so the in-stream, that input incoming stream of events would be entering into those tables. And so that is the one important thing. Then comes the second part. So the first part we understood that you have to create the in-memory OLTP table. Then comes that you are storing tons of data. That's where the clustered column store indexes and the columnar storage within hyperscale, if you know, right? Underneath the way it is the storage, and if you know little snowflake, and they all have the similar way of storing the data, where the column store index based table, it contains that logically organized as a table with rows and column, and physically it stores in the column wise data format. So bulk loading is most performant when you have this design. So the in-memory OLTP and column store indexes, those are your best friends for the staging and for the further offloading the historical data, so that you keep moving the data from in-memory OLTP tables to the tables which have the column store indexes. So now this is the one which I'm thinking about doing the part 2, because here also with this, after this, with the reporting, lot of AIs can be added. And I'm actually, like, it's my hobby project that all my that helmet thing is at the last stage. If we are able to include AI into that solution, then maybe sometime I'll do the part 2 around that, which would be how we are actually going in detail of designing these workloads into the relational engine. So now this, okay. So with this is the one page, lot of text. I would upload this presentation, you can read it. But it is helping a lot. Basically, these all are the areas which help Azure SQL Hyperscale or Azure SQL database to be the perfect relational engine solution, which can help IoTs to scale. And we can design in this manner, and then we have a lot of options to vertical and horizontal scaling. You can read it like this. Is like, I don't want to go point by point and just read the text. So as we discussed that IoT devices 1 to n thousands, event management layer, we have memory optimized tables. Then we are keeping the latest in data in memory optimized and keep offloading the data to the next level with the which is not the landing zone, and then columnar clustered column store indexes, and that is happening in your primary replica. Data is getting replicated. So this is the real time, like this is more detailed picture of your vertical scaling and the horizontal scaling. With the availability group replication, your data is getting replicated to read-only replica, and from there you are building your alerting, dashboarding, analytics, and other solution. And IoT Central, the application which we used for rules, that is even already real time sending you alerts which are like most important for you, where already it is helping you to filter out. So with this combination, you can actually build many like smart solutions. So I would go back by that time to my Azure SQL database, and this one is online. And here is my query editor. We connect. Okay, so I have a lot of tables, and like since last night I did this demo, I was preparing that. So I do have the IoT data, which is that last stop while connecting the dots with the stream analytics pipeline. The data should get entered into your table. So for that, we need to define our table structure and the data model. So we have like 5 minutes left. But in this case, particular case, how I define the table, I just took few columns and created which were important. And in the stream analytics query, I selected those columns and entered that data into this table. So here with this table, we are basically getting like, your device ID and these various dimensions which are important. And currently, I'm not running like next level analytics here because that's what I'm still working on, building that next demos and other things. But this is how your data is actually moving from your device to your database until here in the Azure SQL database. So this is that you can have multiple tables designed and within staging and in analytics historical information, and which you can run your analytics with that from via the read-only replica. So moving along, going back to the presentation, with this layered approach, right? Like why we are using with Azure SQL database. Here it is not only helping us to handle every type of data and workload, and giving us the option for scale up and scale out from the security layers end to end. It is giving us like who should have authentication to which layer and how they are connecting to each other in a very secure manner. Network firewall rules, whitelisting, private endpoint, and then the data at rest security also is by default. All the data at rest is secured, and data in transit is also secured with all TLS, and the RBAC is something which we can implement. So that who should have access to your stream data and who should have access to your alerts and the dashboard, you can define. So with this approach, we collected from the lenses of data, we collected this tons of data, built our own little IoT application, moved that data from IoT device to various hops of those IoT solutions, and up until the database, and learned how these puzzle pieces work together, what is currently like integral part of our life, what we are currently see around us. So with that, thank you so much for your time. We have 2 minutes left. From the resources perspective, trust me, there are like a lot of resources. And in fact, Microsoft Learn recently released an Azure function for IoT, the latest one, which I might have forgotten to copy here. But these all, and then a couple of Ignites, Microsoft Ignite also, they spoke about all these solutions and how data security pieces, and including the ESP32 devices. So these all are the various links which I referred and helped, and I'm sure that if you actually build your solution would help you as well. So thank you so much. And you have my contact information. If I think I've missed copying here, but let me go back to the first slide. So you have that
Surbhi,
Yeah.
I will publish a recording on social media. When I do so, in the comments you can add all those links for people to. It will be simpler, and you can upload the presentation as well and add it in the link. The recording will be published probably in a few days. So just follow us, and you will find it online. Let me just thank you a lot for a great session. Remind everyone to register to the Future Data Driven Summit. You have the link in the chat, you have the QR here, and join us next week in the weekly meeting as well.